Nothing quite beats a movie that makes you disconnect from reality and enter a much warped version of it. Filled with pop culture references, dirty jokes, and a world that is about to end, this film has it all. And that's why today in Flick Summary, Disaster Movie. The movie starts off in 10,000 BC, where a man named Will is running from an animal that seems to be chasing him, but runs into a wrestling guy that challenges him to fight for no apparent reason with one of those sticks.
Things are heating up for the war. I just opened a Target in Reseda.
Will defeats the random guy but still feels as if someone or something is chasing him. Of course, given the time setting we're in, it could only be Amy Winehouse? Amy Winehouse. Well, duh, who else could it be? She alerts Will that the world is nearing its end, doing a quick check on her Facebook to confirm the date, and as it turns out, it's August the 29th, 2008. In retrospect, they make some rather distasteful jokes on Amy Winehouse, but that's a story for another day. Miss Winehouse further explains that the world's end will be due to a misplaced crystal skull. Spot the Indiana Jones plot? As it turns out, it was only a vivid nightmare Will woke up from, but he remains alarmed when he notices his calendar and sees August the 29th, 2008 is filled with little world-ending reminders.
I'm so scared right now.
How lovely. When he tries to wake up his girlfriend, Amy, not a Winehouse, he notices another man in his bed who just happens to be Flavor Flay. Man, this really is 2008, huh? Not much is said about Mr. Flay, and Amy finally appears at the other side of the bed. He tells her about his dream, but she doesn't pay much attention to what he's saying and admits she loves him. Will doesn't seem too thrilled about her declaration and replies with a typical, "I like you too." Ugh, just say it back, man.
Shut up, you're so annoying!
Rightfully so, Amy has had enough of Will dodging his feelings and decides to leave him. Taking a dwarf with her? Where did that come from? Well, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised given Amy Winehouse was chilling on Facebook during 10,000 BC. Also that very day, August the 29th, happens to be Will's 25th birthday, so he decides to throw a MTV-style Sweet 16 minus the expensive cars. Honestly, great idea. I would want one myself. At the party, we get to meet some of Will's friends, Calvin, Kim Kardashian, and Juno, who is very pregnant. We also have a special appearance from Dr. Phil and Seth and McLovin from Superbad, who are, as expected, trying to steal alcohol. Sounds fun. Enraged over the alcohol thieves, Kim Kardashian tells Calvin to stop them and hands him a gun. Sounds reasonable, right? Steal alcohol? Get murdered?
We just think that maybe she's being a little unreasonable.
As he gets ready to shoot, a blonde bombshell gets in the way. She explains that in order to land the shot, he has to curve the bullet. You know, much like that Angelina Jolie movie. Calvin finally shoots, but the bullet lands on that guy from No Country for Old Men. He shoots 2 more times, hitting Dr. Phil and the lady that was telling him to curve the bullet. Nicely done, Calvin. Upon virtually killing 3 people, McLovin and Seth finally get away with stealing the alcohol.
You had one, Joe.
Will, who's broken-hearted over his girlfriend rightfully dumping him, is still somehow hopeful she will show up to his Sweet 16 25th birthday. She surprises him by showing up, further shocking him when she shows up with a brand new boy toy. You show him, Amy. Visibly disappointed, Calvin decides to invite the entire cast of High School Musical in an attempt to cheer his buddy up. Oh, Jessica Simpson, Justin Timberlake, and the Jonas Brothers were there too. Sounds like a good cheering up tactic, definitely. Right in the middle of a musical number, an earthquake takes place and everybody panics.
We're all gonna die!
As if nothing happened, Will and Amy have a final altercation where she tells him that every time they were together, she was thinking about other men, which he not so brightly replies with,
"Well, so was I."
She leaves once again, and as Will returns to the party, a radio transmitter announces that asteroids have started falling on Earth.
Well, that's just great.
Will finally realizes his dream was not necessarily a nightmare, but also a premonition. Everyone quickly leaves the house and run to nowhere. As Kim Kardashian, Will, Calvin, and Juno run, an asteroid lands right beside them, killing Hannah Montana in a painful death and long-winded scene.
Oh my god, Hannah Montana's really Miley Cyrus!
Oh, duh. No shit, Sherlock.
Right after this, a random kid finds Hancock lying around and asks him to take care of whatever is going on. Well, more like insults him into taking care of everything. Cool beans! Following the random Hancock moment, it starts unexpectedly snowing in the city, and our four heroes hurry to enter what looks like an abandoned building in order to protect themselves from the cold. The girls from Sex and the City show up and claim the spot as theirs. A fight between Juno and Carrie ensues until the pregnant Juno manages to beat her with rather icky pregnancy attacks. After the fight breaks up, the earthquakes continue and Will tells the group about the Amy Winehouse apocalypse dream.
Will you shut up?
Later, creepy Calvin suggests they remove their clothes so they can keep each other warm with their bodies. Obviously, he only says this so he can take a peek at Kim Kardashian's naked body. However, they don't get to spend too much time at the abandoned building as they decide to leave right after another asteroid strikes. On the other hand, Will, who is unable to get Amy out of his mind, decides to call her and apologize. She forgives him and tells Will she is stuck at the Museum of Natural History, causing Will to commit to getting her out of there. The team doesn't want Will to venture off on his own, so they join him on his quest of rescuing Amy. Everyone except Kim Kardashian, who gets killed by an asteroid that lands right on top of her. Ouch! As the Now trio heads off to rescue Amy, a princess named Giselle appears from the sewers as she sings to everything she finds along the way. Sound familiar? Calvin is immediately smitten by the girl and invites her to join the adventure. She agrees but confesses she's not actually a princess. She's just under a lot of drugs.
Lots and lots and lots of mind-altering, enchanting drugs!
Calvin doesn't seem to mind though and takes her anyway. A tornado suddenly appears, but this time around, Iron Man is here to save us, but gets killed by a cow, which also happens to Hulk and Hellboy.
Well, that's just great.
As Will struggles to fight the winds of the tornado, he calls Amy, who is now trapped under a statue and unable to get out. Now more motivated, Will explains to the gang that they have to retrieve the skull Amy Winehouse told him about, which is obviously the cause of everything that's going on. The group eventually finds another secure area to remain while the earthquakes are taking place. There, they meet Alvin and the Chipmunks, who perform a lovely, uplifting Christmas song, followed by a much darker death metal one. Right then and there, the Chipmunks attack and start chewing away at our main guys, killing Juno in the process. Finally, Will and his friends manage to overtake the Chipmunks, throwing them in a trash can and hopefully killing them. The group once again flees the spot and they run to the streets, where they encounter a completely apocalypse scene, and Batman. Cool. The Dark Knight tells the group that the city is being evacuated and they have to leave before 9 p.m. Although time is very much against them, Will and the group are still planning to go after Amy. In an effort to get there faster, Giselle finds Speed Racer and kills him in order to steal his car. And when I say kill, I mean kill.
They say that the first kill is supposed to be quite difficult, but I find it easy.
As it turns out, Speed Racer had Michael Jackson, a monkey, and a baby hidden in the trunk. But not too much explanation is given about that. In fact, no explanation is given at all.
I'm so damn confused.
They finally arrive at the Museum of Natural History and quickly spot Amy, who is under a lot of pain due to, well, being stuck under a statue. The group attempts to knock her unconscious to keep Amy from feeling any pain. However, they fail miserably and have to proceed to remove the statue from her, under much more pain before due to the previous beating she took.
That's gotta hurt!
They finally manage to get her out safely, but the coast is not yet completely clear. Amy shows the group the crystal skull Will was talking about and tells them they have to secure it where it belongs, on an altar at the museum. If they don't, the world will indeed end. Well, who would have thought Will was right?
Who would have thought? Not me.
Giselle and Calvin leave Will and Amy behind and hurry off to find safety, trusting that their friends will manage on their own. Will and Amy hurry off to find where to place the skull until they finally find the altar. As expected, things cannot go smoothly even once, and the museum comes back to life during nighttime. Again, sound familiar?
Sound familiar?
Some random naked dude is particularly adamant about attacking Will, who doesn't do much to retaliate. Also, Calvin and the princess ran into some trouble once Po from Kung Fu Panda gets in the way of their exit. Calvin finally defeats the skilled panda and goes to kiss Giselle, but doesn't once he finds out she is actually trans. Hey, that's uncool.
Hey man, that's not cool.
They don't get to discuss about it for much longer as Po comes back to life and kills both of them. Well, lots of murdering in this movie, huh? Will and Amy finally reach the altar, but Indiana Jones appears out of nowhere, who apparently is actually Will's dad, who abandoned him before he was even born. Makes sense, I guess.
Doesn't make any sense.
He tells Will he'll take care of the skull, but accidentally flies through a window, and we can only assume he is no longer with us. Will manages to place the skull on the altar right on time, and the earthquakes immediately stop. Sometime later, Amy and Will get married and ends with a musical number, where Will confesses he is sleeping with Matt Damon, and Amy is doing Hannah Montana. What else could we expect? And that's all for today. Talk about parodies, huh? I think this movie took that word to a whole different level. So tell us, what did you think of this flick? And of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. See you next time!